Hi everybody. In this video we're going to have a look at creating a simple role-playing game in Python. So this game is called Boxing Manager, and I'm just going to go through the rules first of all. So each boxer in the game has two statistics. They have a life score and a dodge score, and both of those are numbers. They start at 5 and then you can level them up to 20 maximum. So then what happens is we take turns between the two boxers and we generate a random number from 0 to 20. And if the number is bigger than the opponent's dodge score, then you subtract 1 from their life score. So you keep doing this, switching between the two boxers until you get down to 0 for one of the boxers. And then when you get a boxer down to 0, then obviously the boxer is knocked out and the other boxer is the winner. Now this is designed to be kind of a role-playing game, so that means that once you've knocked out one boxer, you move on to a harder boxer with higher scores for life and dodge. So let's have a look at how we can make this game using Python, and I'm going to take you through just the beginning part. So this is to give people a little bit of support if you're not sure about how to work with random numbers and use some of the if statements and loops that we've looked at in Python so far. So the first thing is that if we're using random numbers, we need to put import random at the top of our program. Now my boxer is going to have a dodge score and a life score, so let's make variables for those. I'll put player dodge, which is going to be 5 out of 20, and player life, which is also 5 out of 20. And then there's also going to be an enemy boxer, so I'll put enemy dodge. Let's say the enemy boxer also has 5 for each of these scores. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to generate a random number. And this random number is going to be for the player to attack the enemy. So it's going to be a random number between 0 and 20. And if we get higher than the enemy dodge, that means that you've hit the enemy. So let's look at how to do that. What I'd do is I'd put player attack. Now this is the name that I've chosen for my variable. And like I said, it's going to be a random number from 0 to 20. So to do that, we write random .rand int, so that's short for random integer, between 0 and 20. Now if that attack number is higher than dodge, that means we've hit. So I write if player attack greater than enemy dodge, colon. And then if I do hit, then I subtract 1 from the enemy life. So enemy life equals enemy life minus 1. Now we probably want to see some text, so to make it clear what's happening, I'm going to print out some information. So let's say you attack the enemy boxer. Actually it should be your player attacks the enemy boxer, because you're supposed to be the manager here, not the boxer yourself. Okay, so your player attacks the enemy boxer, your boxer attacks the enemy boxer, and then print you hit him. Now if you miss, then I want to print out a message to say that too. So this is the part of if which happens if it's true. If I want something to happen when the if is not true, so if the attack is less than the dodge number, I write else. Okay, so now let's test that program out. So I run it, and first of all it created all of these values. So player dodge, player life, enemy dodge, enemy life, they're all set to 5. Then I made a random number. We can actually see what the random number was by typing player attack. So if I type player attack, the random number was 7. Now obviously that's more than 5, so that means that I did hit the enemy boxer, and we subtracted 1 from enemy's life. So enemy life should equal 4 now, which it does. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to repeat that process until the enemy's strength goes down to 0. So to make something repeat, we need to use a loop. The loop that I'm going to use is a while loop. So while enemy life not equal to 0. Now this exclamation mark equals means not equal to. And this while loop is going to repeat the commands that I put inside it. Now when I say inside the while loop, what that means is all of the commands underneath the while loop which are indented. So to indent these commands and make them repeat, I select them with the mouse and then I press the tab key. And that moves everything inwards. Okay, so now what's going to happen is it's going to repeat this attack until the enemy boxer runs out of energy. It's not checking if our boxer runs out of energy, it's just checking the enemy boxer at the moment. So let's run it. And you can see there's lots of attacks going on here. So we attacked, we hit, that would take the enemy down to 4. We attacked, we hit, so that would take the enemy down to 3. Then we missed. Then we hit him, that would take the enemy down to 2. Miss, hit would take him down to 1, and then the final hit took him down to 0 energy, and then we finished the game. Okay, now to make it a bit more suspenseful, you might want to ask the user to press a key between each attack. Okay, so we can do that really simply. We use the input command. So I'll put input, press enter for next attack. So input waits for the user to type something and press enter. Here we don't care what they type, so we're not actually storing the value that they enter. If I wanted to store the value, I'd write value equals like this. But I don't care what they type, I'm just waiting for them to press enter, so I don't put that, I just put input. So now if we run it, it says press enter for next attack, and then when I press the enter key, it tells me what happened. I attacked and managed to hit the enemy, and then each time I press enter, something new happens. Okay, so this is fine, but at the moment it's just me hitting the enemy boxer. We really want to have the enemy boxer fighting back. Okay, so this is a good point for you to have a go at writing some program code. We've got the program code here for you to attack the enemy, but now we need to switch it round. We need the enemy to attack you. So see if you can write that program code now, and just pause the video. I'll give you the answer a little bit later in the video, but pause it now and have a go at writing that code yourself. Okay, so here's how we would do it. I'm just going to copy and paste that code. Paste it down here. Now instead of the player attack, this is the enemy attack. It's also going to be a random number from 0 to 20. This time we're going to say the enemy attacks your boxer. And then this time, if enemy attack is greater than player dodge, then player life equals player life minus 1. And this should say he hits you, or he hits your boxer, I guess. Should I just put you? It makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? The enemy attacks you. That sounds more exciting. And that means that you attack the enemy. You hit him, you missed him. I already wrote you there. I'm not being very consistent. Okay, he hits you, and then he misses you. Okay. So now we should get attacks in both directions. So you attack the enemy boxer, you missed him, the enemy attacks you, he hits you, and it continues like that. I think I might have an enter between each one, so I could copy and paste that enter part as well. Okay, that's working well. Now the last thing we have to do is to check if the player has run out of energy. So if the players run out of energy, we need to end the game, and we can write an if statement for that. So to write that if statement, I'm going to check if the player has run out of energy. I'll do that here. If player life equals 0, we need to exit the program, so I'll print you are knocked out and have lost the match. And then to exit the program, I can just write exit like that. Okay, let's give that a try. Okay, and there we go. So in this case, unfortunately, we lost. Okay, now it's a bit hard to keep track of who's got what energy. So let's add in a part which prints out how much energy each player has. So we're going to print you have comma player life left. So this will print out how much life you have left, and then let's also print out how much the enemy has left. So the enemy has enemy life left. And that helps you to keep track of how much life you and the enemy have. Okay, so guys, once you've written everything, and obviously a lot of it we did was with cutting and pasting, but it actually makes a reasonably long program there for the whole game. Now there's lots of ways you can expand this game. So one way would be for you to have multiple opponents. So when you beat an opponent, you could have an opportunity to increase one of your scores. So you could choose whether you want to increase dodge or increase life, and then you would fight against an enemy who also has increased dodge or increased life. Another way that you could improve this game would be to have 3 statistics. So instead of dodge and life, you could have dodge, life, and power. And the power would decide how much damage your punches did when they actually hit. Okay, so that would be another way that we could improve this game. Yeah, another way that you could improve this game would be to maybe have a final boxer, and then if you defeat the final boxer, it gives you a congratulations message. It says you've made it to the end, you've become world champion, something like that. So guys, there are lots of ways to develop this game, and if you have the time, you could have a go at some of those. But what I really want to do with this game is just to show you how we can put a simple game together using those techniques of if and else and while and making random numbers. And if you understand those, then you understand everything that you need to at this stage.